The main challenge was just looking for employment. Looking for a job is a job.
From time to time I had full-time employment. It's mostly being moved from one job to another.
I thought it was going to be like, you graduate the next day, you go into your job, it was going to be that easy.
Skills is a great source of talent for us in reaching a pool of talent that, believe it or not, is very difficult to proactively reach, and that's the unemployed and the underemployed.
Skills was actually created to be able to help employers find the individuals for jobs, and as part of that we're created to actually help the unemployed and underemployed actually have a network to be able to have a connector to get them into those jobs. While our work may be done for some folks in Chicago, there's a whole set of our economy and our population that the work is not done. And there's a lot of terminology out in this space about different types of gaps and why people are not getting matched to jobs. Skills gap, wage gap. In this case, the access gap is actually a neighborhood gap or a network gap where somebody doesn't actually have access to be able to get their resume to the top of the pile. So if you happen to be living in an area where maybe you're next to a vacant lot or you're next to somebody who's underemployed or not working, it's very difficult to walk over to them and say, hey, I'm interested in this job. Can you go ahead and make an introduction for me, or can you get my resume to the top? Skills for Chicagoland's future is the neighbor.
With the professionals over at Skills, that led me into the position with Inc.
So Latrika initially called me for a position. Unfortunately, I wasn't a fit, but they kept me in consideration for other positions. And that's how I came about with Shift Gig. Once she got the request for employees, I was the first one she thought about, and it happened to be a great fit for me and for the company, for everybody.
Being that we've hired, 47 different candidates with skills, one that really stood out to me, I think, was Abdul Goler. Just had that level of professionalism. I think Skills really prepared him well for that interview, as well as, kind of going through our process.
One of the things that I'm impressed with Skills is the fact that they listen, and I think there are a lot of people out in the world right now, in Chicago in particular, who need to be listened to, who need to be given a hands up, need to know and have a certain sense of understanding that people appreciate what they have to offer. There's a lot of talent out there, and a lot of them are unemployed.
We found that people actually, after they've gotten placed with Skills, the number of hours they work has gone up tremendously, up to 37 hours a week. Their paid time off benefits have gone up tremendously. Their salaries have gone up about $6,500 a year. They also, in terms of their reliance on government assistance, it's declined extraordinarily. Beyond the numbers is also just their outlook on life has improved.
I moved out of my house from my parents. I currently live in Bridgeport with an apartment with a roommate. Since I was in that position of unemployment at one point, and I know the desperateness, the fact that we give people an opportunity to have flexible work or just add on to their jobs already, it's something satisfying to do.
It just feels like I have a anchor with the equity in the position. I was not in a position like this ever in any part of my career. So personally, it's very fulfilling.
Now I can actually contribute gainfully to my household, and the great thing is I can actually have my son attend daycare and after school activities like soccer, and really, be an active part of society.
But at the bottom line, I think what's really makes Skills so unique in our ability to do this is that you have a business community that have surrounded our organization and have said and lifted up this issue and said we want to do something about it.
Every single year they've delivered, to the point now that internal to CDW, both our recruiters as well as our hiring managers see Skills as a credible talent source for meeting our talent needs.
The magic is really in the partnership. Everything from the quality of the leadership, the no-cost resource. There isn't another offering out there that has those two elements. CDW is an international organization, and we have multiple locations across the U.S., and we look to further the partnership as Skills expands. 2016 was a really special year for us because we were able to celebrate our first launch of our first expansion site. We actually made the decision for our first expansion site to be Rhode Island, and now those Rhode Island businesses are going to be hiring unemployed and underemployed in Rhode Island. My dream for us is, and my dream for this community is taking a proactive approach and saying to themselves, what can I do? I can open up my place of business and give people jobs. With youth unemployment the way it is in the city, we actually need to double down at this point and really tackle getting as many people back to work as possible, getting them off of the street and getting them into jobs so that they're on a trajectory that actually lifts up the entire city. And at the end of the day, in terms of making a difference, a job will change a person's life. And it's really important that we are creating paths of opportunity for those who do not come into this world with that same privilege that others do.